This is the JBJ Management Podcast. I'm Willis Johnson, and
I am Samantha Gordon.
I am Camron Powell.
And so here we are again today. I thought we were going to pick up on
The Hawk.
the last, yes. So
It's been
the
a week already.
Yeah. So the last time we talked, you were supposed to give me the definition of the hawk.
It's wind.
Bringing
Wind
in
chill.
cold temperatures, a wind chill. That's what it said. The hawk is coming.
And so when you did that research, were you surprised?
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, why didn't you know when I asked you last week what the hawk was?
Because it
mean,
wasn't a
people,
term that
you know,
I've heard before. That's it.
Have different words for different things, you know.
But it makes sense. A hawk comes in, it swoops in and brings in cold weather, wind. It makes sense. I get it.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to leave that out. And then
The homework was done. I was a great student.
and
homework
what else
was done.
What else were we supposed to work on? Were we getting her married? No, it was her attitude.
The attitude is great. These two, on the other hand, they are on one today. I got here early. I was ready to go. I sat down and they were, they were on one.
I don't know what she's talking about.
So have you ever said to any man, Samantha, any man,
Jesus.
Check that attitude.
by text, by voicemail, or just talking to the man, we need to talk?
Oof.
Yes.
And when you said that,
Those
Mhm.
words hurt.
what did you mean?
I just
I'm
had a
curious.
flashback.
Right.
Mm.
There's no man that I know when he hears from a woman, we need to talk.
Ooh.
That's never good. So what did you mean when you said that?
Meant we need to have a conversation. I'm obviously unhappy with the way things are going or something that had happened, and we need to talk about it.
So
It's not as scary as it is a breakup. It's not always that. It maybe just is like,
it
hey,
didn't have to be a breakup.
there
You
is
don't have to be
something
in a
that's going
relationship.
on.
It's just
I think when
the
a
way you
woman
say it.
when a woman comes to, we need to talk, she has her mind made up about something, whatever it is. She's already thought about it.
She's already thought about it, and also she's already talked to her friends, and they
She's-
have an opinion about it. And so then it's really, you got input. So whenever
It's
someone
too
says
late.
you have
Which
we
means,
need to talk. There's-
fellas, we're done. When you hear that terminology, we need to talk. Just say, that's
Yes,
okay,
dear.
whatever
No,
you-
it's-
right,
Yes, dear.
No, it's
Yes,
you need to
dear.
listen. It's not even we need to
That's
talk.
it.
It's you need to listen. That's what that equals.
keep that mouth shut
Well, how
for
do you-
5 seconds while I can get out whatever I need to say.
Well, if you say it another way, can I talk to you?
So much better.
Is it?
Oh my God.
It doesn't have the same.
And
Then-
why is we need to
hold
talk
on.
never good? Why is it we need to
It's,
talk and
can
then
I
it's a
talk
good
to you? It's giving them like you're giving them the option to say no. And when I'm telling you we need to talk, I'm not giving you the option to say no.
Well, I feel like
It's
you,
going to be
in
said,
that state, you can
regardless
follow
if
it
you
up
want
with
to
that.
listen to me or not. But it's going to be said.
I think you can follow it up with that. You know, come in a little. You know, can we talk about? Because I think that makes it a little bit more of a welcoming experience, a little more of a conversation. And then if they decide to be, no, I don't want that. We need to talk. I think it's there's levels to it. But hey,
But remember, she said she's already talked to her.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
friends
already
about-
made
But
up.
the mind is
Right.
made up.
It's
Right.
made up. So we need to
And-
talk.
and-
I
It's
could say it a
false
little bit
advertisement.
nicer. I could say, I think it's best that we talk, and I could put it that way, maybe, but I'm not going to phrase it as a question, because if I phrase it as a question, then that's opening it up a little bit.
You might as well just say there's something I need to talk to you about.
Well, did he ever change your mind?
Mind is made up.
So whoever you said that to, there was nothing he could say.
That's
No.
why I say you need to listen, because it's not a talk.
Mind is made
So
up.
do you say the same thing to a woman?
Mhm.
We need to talk.
Yeah,
I have.
absolutely.
And
A
is your
friend.
mind made up with her too?
Oh, yeah. If I'm telling someone we need to talk, like I've thought it through and I've made sure I know exactly what's going on here and what I need to say. And there's a reason behind saying what I got to say. And I'll make sure it's said.
So what do we say? What do men say?
Happy
when
wife,
you-
happy life.
No. I mean, you thought about it. You made up your mind. You're not happy, and you want to talk to her about it. What do you say?
I'm here to listen.
I don't really know. I mean, I'll hit them with the same thing sometimes because I know they hit me with it. I'm gonna hit them with the I need to talk to you.
That's true. That's the other part I was thinking of is guys do the same thing. They're very abrupt, straight to the point. Last week you said you got an attitude. You didn't say, do you have an attitude? Is something going on? Wasn't phrased as a question. It was, you got an attitude. So, I mean, guys do the same thing.
I do more of a, I need to talk to you about something. I try to make it just as sinister.
I withdraw.
I do, yeah.
I go into
introspection.
I just don't talk to you at all.
That part. That part right there.
We got another one over here.
I'm notorious for ice treatment.
Yeah.
Just,
okay. I think I relate to you. I think a lot of men relate to you for this reason because I think men as a whole feel that when there's an issue, when a man has an issue in a relationship, it's dismissed. It's whatever. But when a woman's upset, you're probably going to break up. And so I think some men feel like it ain't even worth it. Like, I'll be all right.
But I don't necessarily, so I'm not granted in a relationship, but I'm just talking about just in general.
Oh.
Because what I heard was you will say to anybody you are not happy with, we need to talk. Has nothing to do, because we figured out you're not in a relationship. We've been trying to get you married now so it's not about that. It's about a person that you know.
I think it depends on the context though too, because it's different if there have been issues and things are kind of swirling around and you're like, all right, we need to talk. There's a conversation. Like, it kind of depends on the outside factors that are pulling into that conversation. I will tell anybody, have a conversation with them, be open and be honest, and kind of say that there's something, if it's work, if it's friends, like if there's something that needs to be discussed, I know how to go about that in the most politically correct way, I guess is the easiest way to say it that I'm thinking. I can go about it. I can break the news a little bit easier, not be as harsh. But if it needs to be harsh, I can do that as well.
Well, we know that.
I think it just...
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Whoa. Okay. I am not that harsh. Only when you two come in hot, that's when I'm like, hold on. I can be a little harsh.
I say this to a lot of people when I'm introducing Samantha, or I'm in a relationship with Samantha with a client. I will always introduce her as one of the most challenging people that we came to an agreement with at JBJ. But yet I didn't know. When Samantha interviewed here, she said she got on the elevator and said, yes, that's where I want to be. But I didn't know that.
Poker face.
And then she asked me 2 weeks later about 332 questions.
It's like 3.
And when I finished, I said, and it was on a Sunday. She said, So I never thought that she wanted to be here. And so, but she's full of questions. She got a lot of questions. But I never detected attitude. I just, that attitude didn't come up until last week. I just, after 3 years.
Take 3 years. That's good. That's good.
I think a lot of married men can relate to that.
No, I think before you get married, there's an attitude.
I kind of hope so. Do it
anyway. Yeah, where not to step. So
the landmines where they're at.
You put in some notes today. You were going to talk about Dr. King's son?
Yeah, I know we recently had MLK Day, the parade and everything, which ours got delayed a week because it was a little cold outside.
And then we got delayed 2 hours just waiting in the parade to get started.
On the week after. So it was, It was an event. But his youngest son passed away at 62 years old due to prostate cancer.
Yeah, that's and he's the one who most looks like his dad. It was Dexter. I probably met Dexter when he was 30-ish. But it's what he died from, I think, is more telling, especially for African American men.
Yeah, it's high.
Get your PSA checked. Whatever just listen, I know it's a test.
It's not the most welcoming.
I know.
I'm not looking for it.
You gotta put that mic up a little.
and I'm not looking forward to it. And I heard your story. I heard your story when you was telling us about it. And my dad told me his story. I'm not looking forward to that, but it's necessary.
If you want to live long term, men, get your PSA checked. Now, the PSA is really a blood test. It's that digital. It's that digital exam. Because the doctor, when he says, let me get my gloves. When he says, get my gloves.
Both y'all did the exact same thing.
But I am a cancer survivor, and I've done the test both ways. And yes, it's a little challenging and demeaning because what the doctor's trying to feel is the size of the prostate. There's only one way to do that.
Got to get physical.
Yes. And I know, and see, now, I don't want to go too far, but
We're already pretty deep in this conversation right now.
Pretty deep in it? Like,
there's a lot of words. There's a lot of play on words. There's a lot of play on words.
Cameron!
There's a lot of play on words.
Cameron!
Get your PSA checked. Men, get checked for prostate. Get checked early.
it was something else we talked about a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
get your mind out of that Starbucks over there.
We talked about the NFL Super Bowl color theory, how when they released the color of the Super Bowl logo, a couple months before Super Bowl, it reflects the colors of the teams that people speculate the color of the logo reflects the teams that will make it to the Super Bowl.
So what's the logo?
It was purple and red when it first came out. A lot of people said Ravens, 49ers.
So now you're saying it's going to be Chiefs
Depends
and
on who wins.
Ravens.
Or whichever it is. But I wanted to ask you, because it was also that happened, and now that though both of those teams are kind of in like the final round of the playoffs, it's starting to look more like it's kind of scripted. In addition to that, a news station last week accidentally aired something that said Reba McEntire, Usher, and Post Malone are slated to perform at San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl matchup on February 11th. And it was on the screen for a news article or source.
You are really implying some strong stuff here.
I'm not implying. I'm asking you.
No, you're
are you
implying
a believer in that theory? Or Sam, are you a believer in that theory? And if these teams do make it, if these teams do make it to the Super Bowl, will that solidify that the NFL is scripted?
Ask me this time next week.
Again, boss, you've seen more NFL games than all of us combined.
Because I've seen all of the Super Bowls. Here we go again.
The leather helmets, they're back.
Here we go again.
They're back.
And somebody said to me, does Cam always like to throw you under the bus
No.
about your age?
Yes.
It appears to come up. Listen, I'm proud of my age. I'm glad to be here. But it seems to come up every week.
I'm not under the bus. That's insane. I mean, that's why we have different ages here to talk about the differences in our experiences and our opinions.
But you're just the first one to point them out every single time.
It appears to be my age.
I'm on the bottom looking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get your PSA check.
I got some years.
Several years ago, maybe 5 years ago, Tom Brady and the Patriots were playing the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks had first and goal on the 1 yard line with time running out. In the Super Bowl.
Marshawn Lynch.
With Marshawn Lynch, the running back, who was a beast.
Beast mode.
Everybody in the world just assumed
Marshawn is running the
you're
ball.
going to give him the ball, win the Super Bowl. It would have been their second Super Bowl. But he threw an interception. Russell Wilson throws the ball. That's one of the few times I thought, did somebody talk to Russell or Pete Carroll?
Is there a big check coming?
Who would make that call? Deep down, I believe that, and this get me in trouble, all us in trouble. I believe that the mafia exists. No, I don't believe it. I know it.
The Godfather is his favorite movie, by the way. Just want you to know.
Which is based on the Gambino family. I don't know about the colors, but I find it interesting that it's illegal to bet. But yet in every paper, every day, there is the line for the NFL game. That they're favored by 6, they're favored by 2. Why do you put that in the paper if it's illegal to bet?
A lot of people bet on those games now, too. It's gotten pretty big. And I think a few years back, the NFL is considered an entertainment business now. It's not considered a...
It's still an entertainment to me because I don't lose any sleep about who wins or loses.
Yeah.
It's like a movie. It's like a TV show to me.
What about you, Sam? How do you feel about it? Think it's scripted?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Couldn't even tell you, even if I wanted to. It's fun to watch. I enjoy it. I mean, now I love to see who's in the stands because it's pretty fun.
Because it's Taylor Swift. Here we go.
It's fun when they pan to her. Hey, they had a great story this week with Jason Kelsey. It was
the entire
great.
NFL wants Kansas City to lose strictly because of Taylor Swift.
Never. I want them to make it to the Super Bowl. I think it'd be so much fun.
Swifties.
I love the Swifties. Jason Kelsey was the star of the show this time, not Taylor. Jason was the star of the show. Rightfully so, too.
Yeah, right, because that's a game, football. I mean, it should be. So he catches the touchdown. He goes.
That was sweet.
That's so sweet.
That was
then
sweet.
Throws a ball up. I'm like, what?
That was sweet.
Oh, you're booing him, no love. So
Right.
sad.
I mean, Taylor Swift at so I guess she would be in Vegas.
Well, so there's a whole dilemma because she has a show in Tokyo. But
Well,
I think they
she
said
probably won't
it's
make it.
17 hours ahead. So technically they think she would have to get on a flight, but she could make it back. I don't know. We'll see. Chiefs got to make it there first, though. They got a big game.
Well, I wanted to talk to a guy who was in a big game. He won a national championship. Mack Brown at the University of Texas won the first national championship in the new era for the University of Texas, and he's next on our podcast.
There was an article in the Dallas Morning News that gave Mack Brown's record. Unmatched. I mean, from 1998 up to 2000, whatever year it was, unmatched. There's no reason for Mack Brown not to be in Texas, but that's Willis's opinion. Sorry.
Thank you, Willis. I've always liked Willis's opinion, without question. But we did so well, and then we dropped off. And modern day people get a certain expectation. I had a certain expectation that we were going to win 10 or more every year, and we did it for about 10 plus years. And then when we won 8 and we won 9, it just wasn't enough. And I get that. I understand it. So when you leave Texas, it's really hard to think about coaching anywhere else, because that's as good as it gets. And you've won all the games, and we should have won 3 national championships and instead of 1. So we, as Coach Rowe used to say, I won 3 and lost 2. I can say we won 1, lost 2, and really 3, because your group, BJ, that night we played Colorado.
Yeah.
If we'd beaten them in Dallas, then we go play Miami for the national championship. Who knows? So it's really, we had a chance to win 4. But then, Willis, you stay out for 5 years. You're in the media. Every year you've got somebody calls and offers you a job. And my wife, Sally, and I looked at it and we said, I don't fit there. We wouldn't be excited there. We don't want to move there. I'm not their best choice. And she always said, I love the BJ Johnsons of the world. I love the Derek Johnsons of the world. I love Sid B. I love Vince Young. The players, the Bo Scaife, Selvin Young. I mean, they're such a big part of mine and Sally's life that we said that what we miss are the players.
Yeah.
We don't miss the rest of it. The rest of it's fine. And we got enough money, so we don't need money. So we started going around for the little Hall of Fame tour before you get inducted, and thank you, BJ, for helping me get into the Hall of Fame. You're in there with me. So we come back to North Carolina, and there's about 200 guys here that played for us when we were here before, and they're all talking about what we meant in their lives. And Coach, remember when you yelled at me? Remember when you patted me on the back? Remember when you picked me up? Remember when my dad died? Remember, and it was just an overwhelmingly positive night for me to think about what little piece of our players' lives we were. But we were a piece, and that's important. That's what you do this crazy stuff for. So walking out that night, Sally said, you know, this is the happiest I've seen you since we left Texas. And she said, because you get that gleam in your eye when you're around your players. And so it said, you love them, and you're passionate about that. You like TV, but it's not the same. So she said, I'll make this deal with you. You can coach at Hawaii. I said, we're not going to go coach at Hawaii. She said, well, I want to live there. She said, you can coach in the Bahamas. I said, they don't have football in the Bahamas. She said, we'll start a team. We'll make it the Bahama Iguanas. I said, I got you. She said, you can come back here if you ever want to come back here, because you've got so many ties here, like Texas. I can see you coming back here to coach. Well, Larry Fedora was the coach, and we liked him, and we didn't want him fired, and he had a long-term contract. So I pretty much said, we're not going to coach. And then sitting at the end of the year, I was actually on an ESPN show called Who's In? And I had picked Oklahoma to be one of the 4 teams. So I made everybody in the state of Texas mad, because they were all mad at me because I picked Oklahoma. And I thought one of the reporters said, Coach, you made everybody in the state of Texas mad. I said, I've done that before. This isn't the first. So the whole state's been mad at me before, but Oklahoma had one of the 4 best teams. So I was going to put them in. As I'm walking out, the athletics director, Bubba Cunningham, calls me and said, will you coach our team? And it's 11 o'clock in the morning. And I said, what happened to Coach Fedora? And he said, well, we made a change. And I said, Bubba, I'm not going to go interview for a job. I'm past that. And he said, no, we want you to coach the team. So I said, let me call Sally. I called her in Austin. I said, hey, you said Hawaii, you said Bahamas, and you said Chapel Hill. They just offered us the job. What do you think? She said, let's go do this thing. And at 3:00 the next day, we got on a plane and came here and have been here for a year and a half.
Okay. So for this week on Can You Relate?
Oh, Lord.
I had something happen right before we came to do this podcast. Right? It like 5 minutes before I got an email, and I just really want to know if this has ever happened to you, any of you guys.
Oh, Lord.
Have you ever been part or had something that was recalled? Like a car, like they're saying.
Yeah. I mean, a car get recalls all the time.
But like a piece of furniture, anything like.
Yeah.
And do you
adhere?
No. Oh, wait, this is okay. So I need to know what to do.
If it's
so you
free,
don't do it.
It'll get fixed. If it ain't free, I'm gonna keep it. It ain't did me wrong yet.
So that's the thing. I'm wondering because they recalled my bed.
Oh.
I don't know.
That'll fall?
They said it'll fall, but it's already almost like on the ground. So I'm kind of wondering, do I just let it go? But I sat there and I read it, and it's almost 5 years old. I got it in 2019. And so I'm like kind of to the point where I'm like, I don't really care. I probably paid $200 for this thing, and I could care less.
If it falls.
Yeah, I don't care. And so I'm kind of just thinking, I ignore it, don't do it. Because then they said, we'll send you the parts to fix it. But that means that I have to actually take it apart, fix it, when I could just buy a new one and put it together and be done with it.
Are you a good person with your hands?
I can build, fix anything. I love doing that kind of stuff. As long as I have instructions, I'll read through it, figure out how to do it.
I don't read the instructions.
Nope.
But I've never
I'll
been
look
a
at
part.
the picture in the box and say,
gotta make that.
But I've never been a part of a recall before. And so, of course, I got it. And I was like, what are you talking about? This thing's 5 years old. Like, it's going to have more issues being 5 years old than a recall.
I never follow up. I think the only time I ever thought about it, there was a car called a Pinto.
Oh, no. Yeah, those. Yeah. Hopefully you got rid of it quick enough.
It was my second car.
So you kept it for a while.
Yeah, I kept it for a while. If anybody hit the rear end of a Pinto, they blew up.
Whoa.
Fuel tank was real far in the back.
You drove it?
I mean, it was a pretty mass-produced Ford.
Yeah.
Mass-produced. It was cheap.
Oh, my gosh.
You needed your life.
Right.
Well, then you're prayerful every day that you don't get hit from.
You can't even control that.
No,
really,
you can't.
it's somebody else's fault.
But I didn't do it then, so I'm for sure not going to do it on the bed.
Only
No.
recall I think I ever. I mean, there's all kinds of cars, random fires from electrical problems, but the biggest one I think that I can remember is the airbag thing with Takata. The past like 5-10 years, there's faulty airbags in a lot of cars because they were like the biggest producer of airbags. But other than that one, I don't think I've ever thought about doing a recall.
Have you ever been in a car when an airbag deployed?
I've been in a few accidents, but no airbags.
I was in an accident. The airbag deployed, and it did more damage to me than
The accident.
the accident.
I mean, it's an explosive. It is.
the thing go boom. Oh, jeez.
Oh my God, it's burns too, right?
Oh yeah, you got all kind of.
In modern cars, not only airbag in
Yeah,
front of
it's
you,
the
there's the
bag,
curtain
it'll, like,
airbags to
burn
block
you.
the window. Some seat belts have airbags in them. Some car bolsters have airbags. There's a lot now. There's a knee airbag in a lot of cars.
I need to go check how many airbags my car has. I don't know anything about them, which is probably a good thing. I'm going to knock on wood for that one.
So that reminds me though, what's in your car now from a musical standpoint? What's
I don't
your
play
vehicle?
about speakers. Yeah, we do those.
I mean, is
Like the speaker that's in it, or
no,
what song
is
am I
there
playing?
is there a radio in there still? I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yes.
I still have a CD changer in mine.
They don't do 8 tracks anymore. If that's what you're asking.
No more cassettes.
No, but do they do CDs?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, mine doesn't.
Mine has a CD.
2023.
New cars
Yeah,
don't.
I was gonna
but
say.
Right, they
No
don't,
CD.
because people have now gone to your own device, and so you don't.
Digital
Bluetooth
phone.
everything.
It's
Yeah.
just Bluetooth.
I'm
wireless.
just curious what was in your.
I was
car.
going to say, I still don't know the radio stations here in Dallas. It's been 3 years.
Because
and
what?
Because I just
Spotify.
Bluetooth everything. Every time I get my car, it just goes straight to Bluetooth. So if for some reason I forget my phone or it doesn't connect or something's going on,
Silence.
I don't know the radio stations in
Yeah, I flip
Dallas.
through over there. I'll just turn it off.
So I'm like, I don't know. And I would sit there spending more time flipping through the radio station trying to find what I want to find.
And
Which
I'm
is
not
another
paying.
reason why I don't miss being on the radio. I was on the radio years ago.
Don't look at me.
No,
Leather helmet.
when the radio mattered. It mattered. People wanted to know who was on the radio, what radio station, especially African American people.
Mhm.
There were 3 things that black people did when they moved to a new town.
Find a radio station.
Yes, that's the first thing they did was find the black radio station. They found what church they were going to go to, and then they found where they were going to get their hair did.
You should watch the movie Barbershop, Sam.
I should watch that movie.
With Uncle
Yeah.
Elroy, who we had on not long ago.
Yeah.
He was coming to town.
But no, you're
With
definitely
Cat
right about
Williams.
that. Like even when I was younger, like radio was still. I think only maybe 2010, 2015 is when like more people digital music really took off. But I remember listening to 89.9 KMLJ in Minneapolis, and
Well, because you don't want to hear the commercials.
Right.
You don't want to hear anybody talk. You just
Mhm.
want to listen to music. Well, when I was on the radio, people wanted to hear what you had to say, and it was information.
my favorite thing on Thursday mornings was War of the Roses. Was on the radio at one of our local stations where they pretty much would catch cheaters. It's like, lady will call in, be suspicious about her boyfriend or whatever, and they'll stage a fake call, say they're a survey. If you answer a couple questions, we'll send a bouquet of roses to whoever you want free of charge. So they answered a couple stupid questions, and the guy almost always sent the roses to somebody else. And the wife or whoever's on the phone listening to the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I would always listen to it on my way to, because I was out of district, so my mom would drop me off for work. I'd always listen to it on the way to school, and almost every time she dropped me off before the end of it came. I used to be so upset.
So you like bad news.
We all do. Controversy sells.
And with that, we'll talk about bad news on the next JBJ Management Podcast.
We got bad news? What's going on?
Something will happen.